had a really interesting conversation with a client yesterday, and it's a few things. It's about understanding that pretty much any business is limited by the demand for their products. Now, really successful businesses can go and create their own demand. Like think of David Fogarty's Oodie product, right? Oodie, however you say it. He created the demand for that product. It didn't exist. No one was sitting there Googling Oodie, or they may have been Googling nightie, nightgown, things like that, but they weren't Googling that specific product. He created that demand with really cool creative and ads, and then a whole host of other marketing, right? But for those of you running Google ads are limited by search volume, so the amount of times people are searching, and this fluctuates. And what tends to happen is, and this is particularly for more mature businesses, these businesses hit a plateau, right? You'll hit multiple plateaus, but if you're doing this for this client's been doing it for years, they've tried really hard, they've tried lots of different marketing avenues. Like Google the whole way has been a really strong profit driver for them. But they have a really long tail of products too. There's not one clear winning product for them. There are, best sellers and stuff like that, but there's a lot of sales coming from multiple little products. Like this product might do 200, 500, 600, 1,000. It's lots of little sales from lots of different products. And so the way for them to grow has been not hard, but it's understanding that mindset that eventually you're going to hit a plateau, and you can try and try and try, but there's no fighting that unless you go and create that demand. So what I do as a Google Ads expert is I go in and try and capture as much of that demand on Google by making sure I'm the top listing, I'm the best listing, I get the most number of conversions, so Google rewards me, people have a good on-page experience. And by doing that, I'm putting the client in the best position to capture as much of that demand as possible. Now, eventually, there's only so much demand I can capture. And particularly, a lot of my clients now are in Australia, just purely because I'm Australian, and it just seems to have worked that way. Used to have a lot more international, but it is what it is. And Australia is a small country, right? So you might have a product, it only gets searched up 1,000 times a month. Now, if you're selling 500 units, how many more can you sell? There's other people, there's preferences, things of that nature, right? And the other problem is your Google Ads results and cost per clicks and your cost per conversions will keep going up, because say there's 1,000 searches per month. Say you're coming up for 500. To get to 600 or 700, you might have to bid double. To get to 800, you might have to bid double again. To see the full 1,000 is virtually impossible unless you have an unlimited budget, but it will become cost prohibitive. So there's a sweet spot of where you've captured as much demand as possible, but you haven't overspent either. So that's a key part of understanding in scaling with Google Ads, right? Is capturing that demand, but you're going to be limited by it. Now, how can you get around that? Well, one way to get around it is by adding more products. And where you would start would be adding complementary products, or adding more variations, colors, sizes, style options of whatever you're currently selling a lot of. In terms of complementary, if you're selling something and people would also be interested in something very similar, that's where you start, right? And you can start looking at competitors, looking at other people, get out there. You could go to China and look at options as well. You could get out to physical stores. By doing this and seeing what's out there, you can increase the amount of potential demand that you can capture. Now, there are some things you can do at a campaign level to try and force more spend, because when you're scaling, you really want to force more spend until you hit a tipping point, because all these other bits and pieces that I see gurus and influencers talk about, how, this optimization, feed optimization, this, that, they never tell you how much additional sales or profit comes from that. And normally it's zero. I'm telling you right now, the easiest and quickest and best thing you can do, as long as you're profitable, and I'm not saying don't optimize, there's definitely things you can do to increase profitability, but if you're already profitable or very profitable and you're not increasing that budget, you're not capturing that demand. And if you don't do that, your competitors or other people in the space, or even similar e-commerce businesses, will capture that demand. Because remember, people are going to Google for solutions, answers to questions, for particular brands, whatever. One particular search, you're never going to capture all that demand. And so lots of different competitors in similar spaces might come in. So if you're selling an electric bike, for example, people might be interested in electric motorbikes. They might be interested also in electric scooters. They might just be looking for a golf cart. There's lots of different things that people could be looking for electric vehicle. They might be looking for an actual Tesla or another EV brand. So it's a complex thing, but what the outcome is that you're going to hit a plateau. There's things you can do at a campaign level to force it. Like say there's lots of zombie SKUs or products that aren't being seen. You can go in and force the campaigns to be seen more. You can do a little bit at the feed optimization level to add some keywords so that it appears for those. You can go and improve the conversion rate, which will of the page, because if you do that, then your ad spend will go further. You'll probably be rewarded with better ad costs as well. And if you do that, then obviously you're going to get a better result. But at the end of the day, you're still going to be limited by that demand unless you then use other forms of ads. So YouTube, demand gen, obviously you can expand out into other parts of the network to, again, you're capturing that demand. But if you really need to use demand gen, YouTube, Meta, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, other areas that will generate demand, or using influencers, using really getting better creative and showing people what it is to create that demand. Google can go in and capture, because once that demand is created, it can go and capture more of it. But Google is not the greatest demand creation tool. It doesn't create demand. It fulfills what's already there and allows you to appear there and give you a chance to make a sale there. But I just wanted to leave you with that of, at some point you're going to hit a plateau. It's tricky to get through them. I will do more content on plateau peaking and getting through it, but it's hard. It does take time. And at some point, you may need to expand into another country. You see brands do it all the time. Look at High Smile. Look at any brand you've seen that did well. They've now introduced more products because demand eventually starts to come down, or competitors come in and so there's the same level of demand and your portion goes down. And it's just it's a delicate balance. And once you hit that point, you may want to start focusing more on profit and doing new products or going into other areas. You might want to start a store, because if you've already got the system and process there, you might want to start a store that is similar, totally different set of products, but the same system there. And so you can make more money through that. So at some point you'll learn you can't push it anymore. And you've done your best, and you may need more products, similar styles, colors, things like that. So I hope this makes sense. And anyone in that position, I'm interested to see what you've done to try and push through, or if you've experienced this. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.